So you've been putting in the hours in the gym, you're eating right, tracking your lifts, you're doing everything by the book. But when you look in the mirror or at the weights you're lifting, they both tell the same frustrating story. You're stuck. The numbers aren't budging. The reflection isn't changing. It feels like you're spinning your wheels, putting in all this effort, but for zero reward. Your gains have completely and utterly stopped. If that sounds familiar, you need to hear this. You are not alone, and this is not the dead end. This is a signal. It's normal and honestly an expected part of anyone's fitness journey. While this isn't a hard statistic, it's an almost universal experience for anyone who trains consistently. This isn't just a slump. It's your body telling you it's time for a challenge, a change in your approach. This video isn't about a few quick tips. This is your new blueprint. We're going to break down exactly why you're stuck and give you the actionable strategies to smash through that wall and get your progress going again. For the last decade, I've been in the trenches of strength training. As a physio, I've helped thousands of people who felt the exact same frustration you're feeling right now. From post-surgery to people wanting to improve their sport and take it to the next level. I've seen it, I've lived it, and I've helped people through it time and time again. So before you get discouraged and think about throwing in the towel, stick by me. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear step-by-step plan to get back on the path to making consistent, noticeable gains. And spoiler alert, I'm in the biggest plateau of my life, so I'll be implementing everything in this video. To break your plateau, firstly, you need to understand it. And let's get on the same page about what a plateau actually is. A fitness plateau happens when your body has adapted so well to your workout and diet that it no longer needs to change. Think about it. When you first start lifting, everything is a shock to the system. Your muscles have never felt that kind of stress before. In response, they grow bigger and stronger, and they do it quickly. Those newbie gains are real and absolutely glorious. But your body is an incredibly smart and efficient machine. Its main goal is survival and balance, not building massive beach muscles. Over time, it learns the patterns of your workouts. It becomes an expert at the exercises you do, using less energy and feeling less stress to do the same amount of work. This concept is called adaptation. Imagine your body is a car factory. When you first start, you have a V6 engine. It's good, it gets the job done. But to do heavier lifting and get bigger, you need more horsepower. The stress from the training sends a signal to the factory manager, your central nervous system in this case, to start upgrading the machinery. So what happens? The factory builds a V8 engine in the form of stronger, more powerful muscle fibers. For a while, that V8 is more than enough. But if you keep asking that V8 to do the same old V6 level of work, the factory manager needs no reason to keep upgrading. Why build a V10 when the V8 is cruising? That's your plateau. The stimulus you're providing just isn't great enough to trigger more adaptation. Your body has gotten so good at your routine that the demand for growth just isn't there anymore. Now that we understand what it is, let's look at things we can do to fix it. And before we even think about changing an exercise program, we have to talk about the two pillars that 90% of your progress is built on: nutrition and recovery. This is hands down the most common area where people go wrong when they hit a plateau. You can have the most advanced scientific training approach in the world, but if you aren't fueling and repairing your body correctly, you're building that house on sand. Let's start with nutrition. A lot of people clean up their diets when they start their fitness journey. I did as well, which is great. But then we make one huge mistake. We never reassess it. As you train, build muscle, change your body composition, your calorie needs change as well. The diet that helped you lose the first 20 pounds is not the diet that's going to help you build the next 5 pounds of muscle. Your body is now a more metabolically active machine. It needs more fuel. If your goal is to build muscle, you might need to strategically increase your calories with high quality foods to keep your body from breaking down muscle for energy. And the most critical nutrient in all of this, as you guessed it, is protein. Protein is literally the raw material your body uses to make muscle and repair it. If you don't eat enough, you're sending a construction crew to the worksite with no bricks. Getting enough protein is a non-negotiable for breaking any plateau. Make sure you're prioritizing whole, nutrient-dense foods that gives you the vitamins and minerals you need for top performance and recovery. And don't make the mistake of cutting out entire food groups like carbs. They're your body's main fuel source and you need them to power through these intense workouts you're planning. You can't build a bigger engine if you're putting watered down fuel in the tank. Now, for that second pillar, recovery. Our culture loves the no days off hustle mentality, but in the world of muscle growth, that's a recipe for disaster. Progress doesn't happen in the gym. It happens after the gym, when you're resting. Overtraining without enough rest is one of the fastest ways to hit a plateau. It leads to mental fatigue, burnout, and a physical state where your body is constantly being broken down without the chance to rebuild. This means making sleep a priority. Getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is not a luxury. It's a biological necessity for hormone regulation, muscle repair, and mental recovery. It's during sleep that your body releases growth hormone and gets to work fixing down those muscle fibers you've broken down in the workout you did just before watching this video. It also means scheduling dedicated rest days. These are not cheat days or a sign of weakness. These are a strategic active part of your training plan. On these days, you can do some active recovery, like walking, stretching, or even light yoga if that's what floats your boat. Remember, muscles don't grow from being punished. They grow from being challenged and then allowed to heal. If you're constantly sore, tired, unmotivated, and your strength is stuck or even going down, that's a huge red flag you are not recovering enough. Alright, we're getting into the good stuff now. If any of this is hitting home and you're finding it helpful, do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button down below. It really helps the channel out and lets me know I'm on the right track with the content you need. Now let's get back to the fixes. Now that your nutrition and recovery foundation is solid, let's look at the engine of all the progress, progressive overload. This is an absolute fundamental principle of getting bigger and stronger. It simply means that to force your muscles to adapt, you have to continually increase the demand placed on them. When your gains stop, the first question you have to ask yourself is, am I truly applying progressive overload? Now, a lot of people think progressive overload just means adding more weight to the bar every single workout. While that's the most direct method, it's not the only one, and eventually it becomes impossible to do consistently. True progressive overload can be applied in many different ways, and if you've hit a plateau, you've probably just stopped being creative with it. So let's do a little check-in. Ask yourself, am I lifting heavier? This is an obvious one. Are you actively trying to add even a tiny bit of weight to your main lifts over time? An extra 1 to 2 kilos on the bar is still progress. Am I doing more reps? If you can't necessarily increase the weight, can you do more reps with the same weight? If you did 8 reps last week, fighting for that 9th or 10th rep this week is perfect, and a perfect example of progressive overload. Am I doing more sets? Increasing your total training volume by adding an extra set can be a more powerful stimulus, especially if you've been doing the same number of sets for months, if not years. Am I resting less? Can you do the same amount of work than the last time by shortening your rest periods and makes the workout more dense and more challenging? Am I improving my tempo? This is a huge one that many people ignore. Are you controlling the weight, especially on the eccentric or lowering part of the lift? Slowing down the negative part of the rep can increase the time your muscle is under tension, which is a massive trigger for growth. You absolutely need to be tracking your workouts. If you're just walking in the gym and lifting based on feel, you have no real data to know if you're actually progressing. Writing it down in a notebook or even using an app, your logbook is your map. It shows you where you've been and tells you exactly what you need to do to move forward. More often than not, a plateau is just a failure to systematically and intentionally challenge your body compared to what it's already capable of. Next thing, the spark. Doing the same exercises in the same order with the same rep schemes week after week, month after month, or even year after year is a surefire way to bore your muscles into submission. Like we talked about, your body adapts. Once it masters a movement, the reason for it to grow then disappears. This is where intelligent variation comes in. And I mean intelligent variation, not random chaos. You don't need to completely change your entire program every single week. That's a mistake called program hopping. Instead, you need to strategically introduce new challenges to keep your body guessing. Here are some specific actionable ways that you can do this. Change the exercise, keep the movement pattern. You don't have to stop training chest, but you can switch up how you train it. If you've been doing barbell bench press for 6 months, try switching to an inclined dumbbell press, for example, for 4 to 6 weeks. This hits the muscle from a slightly different angle using a slightly different piece of equipment and requires more stabilization, providing a new stimulus. Swap the barbell squats for a leg press, change your lat pull downs for pull-ups or bent over rows. Small changes like this can make a world of difference. Change your rep ranges. If you've been living in the 8 to 12 reps, the hypertrophy range forever, your body is used to it. Shock the system by switching your focus for a few weeks. Try a strength focus block where you work in the 3 to 5 rep range with heavier weight. Or go the other way around and look for metabolic stress through higher reps in the 15 to 20 rep range. This technique is known as periodization. It's all about structuring your training into distinct phases to optimize, progress, and prevent stagnation. Introduce advanced intensity techniques. These are fantastic for breaking through stubborn plateaus on very specific lifts. Things like drop sets. After you finish your main set to failure, immediately reduce the weight and keep repping out until you fail again, and then do this again. This dramatically increases the total volume and metabolic stress on the muscle. You can do things like rest pause sets. Do a set to near failure, rest for just 10 to 15 seconds, then immediately try squeeze out a few more. This can also be done as a myo-match set. So first set, you get the number that you can get with the weight you choose, somewhere between 10 and 20 reps. And then for the next 3 sets, you have to hit the same number with as many rest pauses as you need to get that number out. You can also try throw in things like supersets. Perform 2 exercises back to back with no rest. You can do this for the same muscle group like bicep curls and then hammer curls, or opposing muscle groups like doing bench press followed by rows. The key is to give your body a problem it hasn't solved before. This new stimulus forces it out of its comfort zone and back into a state of adaptation, reigniting the muscle building process. Now for the blueprint. Sometimes the reason your gains have stopped isn't because you're not lifting heavy enough, but it's because you're not lifting smart enough. As you get stronger, it's tempting to let your form slide to throw on more weight. This is what we call ego lifting, but junk reps don't build quality muscle. If you're switching the weight, using momentum, or bringing in other muscle groups to help, you're taking tension off the target muscle. Less tension equals less stimulus, which equals no growth. This is where you need to take a step back and really audit your form. Try recording your main lifts to see what your technique actually looks like. Are you using a full range of movement? Or are you just doing half reps? The strategic rest deloads and the power of actually resting. If you've been training hard consistently for months on end, sometimes the best way to move forward is to take a strategic step back. This is called a deload week. A deload is a planned period of reduced training intensity and volume. It is not the same as taking a week off to sit on the couch. It's an active recovery tool designed to give your body, and just as importantly, your central nervous system, a chance to fully recover and let the accumulated fatigue disappear. During a deload week, you might reduce your weights by up to 50 or 60%, or cut out the number of sets you do, make it half for that matter, or do both. Many lifters are afraid that a deload week will make them lose their gains. It prevents overtraining, reduces injury risk, and actually makes your body more sensitive to the training stimulus again. Now, I have never done a proper deload week in my life, but it is programmed in as we speak. Now for the final piece, the mental game. We have to talk about the psychological side effects of a plateau. Hitting a wall can be incredibly frustrating and demotivating, and this is where your mindset is either your greatest tool or your worst enemy. If you see a plateau as a failure, it can lead to negative self-talk, frustration, and eventually cause you to quit the gym. You have to reframe your mindset. A plateau is not a roadblock. It's a data point. It's your body giving you valuable feedback that it's time to learn, adapt, and change your strategy. Embrace a growth mindset, the belief that your ability can be developed through dedication and hard work. Set smaller, more manageable goals. Instead of being obsessed with adding 50 pounds to your deadlift, focus on adding one more rep this week, or perfecting your form on every single set. Celebrate those small wins. Find new ways to stay motivated, whether it's training with a partner, trying out a new sport, or just reminding yourself why you started this journey in the first place. Your mental state is directly tied to your physical performance. Taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body. So let's wrap this all up. You feel stuck, like your progress has hit a brick wall, but now you know. This wall is not permanent. It's a normal part of the process, and you have the blueprint to smash right through it. So let's wrap this all up. You feel stuck, like your progress has hit a brick wall, but now you know that wall is not permanent. It's a normal part of the process, and now, more importantly, you have the blueprint to smash right through it. Firstly, solidify your foundation by re-evaluating your nutrition and prioritizing recovery and sleep, because you cannot build on a shaky base. Secondly, you do an honest check-in on your progress of overload, making sure you're truly challenging yourself in a trackable, systematic way. Thirdly, you introduce intelligent variation by changing up exercises, rep schemes, and using advanced techniques to shock your body out of its comfort zone. Fourthly, you double down on the perfect technique, focusing on the mind-muscle connection instead of just lifting through your ego. And finally, you learn to use strategic deloads and resilient mindset as a powerful tool to overcome and progress in the future. Plateaus are frustrating, but they also opportunities. They force you to get smarter, train better, and become more knowledgeable and resilient. They aren't the end of your progress, they're the start of the next level of your fitness journey. You have what it takes to break through. Now go make it happen. Thank you so much for watching. If this video has helped, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below for more content just like this. And I've got some exciting stuff coming up that will hopefully stop me from hitting a plateau ever again. Now that is, I'm going to be creating a program which you guys can have. I'll make it as cheap as I can, hopefully between £2 for every 6 to 8 weeks. And that'll be changing exactly with what I'm doing to hopefully stop you from hitting that plateau. And if you want to stay up to date with that, that should be dropping in the next 4 weeks.